Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. The headlines. CHIBOLYA youths abandon criminal activities to benefit from CDF. More people nabbed in connection with FTJ University SAGA. President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA calls for continental partnership in minerals development. In international news, gunmen kill 48 people in northwest Nigeria. And in sports, Erling Haaland's move to Manchester City could be confirmed next week. Join me with the details after this commercial.
Are you a married man or woman? Are you encountering challenges in your marriage? Are you planning to take your marriage and love relationship to higher levels? Your business platform is all set for you as a couple. You are invited to attend Zambia's first love, business and marriage conference. Amid these uncertainties in the economy, higher divorce rate in the world, plan to be one of the most successful couple in Zambia. Date 28th May 2022. Time from 9 hours to 16 hours. Participation fee 1,200 kwacha per couple. Lunch inclusive. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International. Speakers, Professor and Mrs. Catherine Munkumba. And your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilo. This is a must attend conference. Plan and make a date with us. Your lives, marriage and future will never be the same. Remember, we are born for greatness. Book for your seats by calling 0962 965 883. See you on the 28th May 2022.
And now the main news in detail. 200 youths of CHIBOLYA compound in Lusaka who were engaging in unproductive activities have expressed interest to change through submitting business proposals in order to benefit from the Constituency Development Fund (CDF). In an interview, the youths who say were previously engaging in illicit activities such as daylight robbery have stated that CDF will go a long way in reducing community crimes. CHIBOLYA compound is known for substance abuse, theft and other illicit activities.
This is a group of youths in Lusaka's CHIBOLYA compound representing a total of 200 who say they want to turn away from illicit activities in the community and contribute positively to the country's development. CHIBOLYA compound has for long been labeled problematic as it is regarded as the center for activities like drug and alcohol abuse as well as theft among others. The youths who spoke to Camnet News, however, say they have received a second chance of life through the Constituency Development Fund (CDF) by submitting business proposals.
Kaimunga isistinga ine sininga nami ine kuchibolya amena kati bot passage program yafunye teka bola background ine sininga nami nenze kupanga lokubali sininga nami nenze kupanga lokubali kani ndebe bochita pese kane ngonkala chemchibolya so chi
ena Ismail jambo kwame support ile ndo shtanani ma practice coach. I came and said, enjoy the boxing, music, what dancing and what footballing. Was it quite easy?
So would like this thing which they are supporting us, the supporter, would like them to be coming and supporting us so that we can go far.
Meanwhile, Hari Mwangankumbula wa 12 Councillor Mr. Aaron Mwanza says the youth will be trained in various ventures to set an example to other youths in the compound.
We shall use this opportunity for CDF to empower this group. Definitely they are going to be empowered. They will form a cooperative which will be empowered in different types of skills that they will be doing. Then you want also those who want to do skills go for training. We have identified a school, be it within our area, and also the Kanyama Youth Project that will also be training our youth in various skills.
Meanwhile, the Future Community Foundation Project Coordinator, Mr. Clinton Gando, says partnering with the local authorities, the organization is determined to bring change to CHIBOLYA compound.
So I just appreciate these youths who are with me here for their positive action, like the positive mind which they have, and they are promising us to say, this issue we complain about drugs, we won't hear about it. This issue complain about the gun locally. They are promising to say no, will be the whole community, CHIBOLYA community, will be totally transformed.
The Ward Development Committee chairperson has also added his voice.
But again, what we are appealing to is to those NGOs, organizations, any organization that can come on board again to help to build up that piece that we have there, the ground. We put like everything together. We can put a basketball court, we put a even for women, tennis, everything, so that they can participate.
The youths who say they plan to engage in many business ventures, among them welding, livestock and music, have not shied away from showcasing their skills. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A 72-year-old woman of Lusaka's John Howard compound in Chawama constituency is depressed for being sidelined from accessing social cash transfer funds. Elizabeth Banda tells Camnet News that she had been on social cash transfer scheme since the year 2017 but was, however, saddened to note that her name was replaced with another person sharing her name but a different national registration card number. She says as a widow, the money has been helping her to alleviate the challenges she faces as she has been able to do a business and support her grandchildren. She has since called on the Department of Social Welfare to rectify the anomalies in the scheme.
The social cash transfer scheme has proved to be a very effective tool of alleviating the high poverty levels in the country by cushioning vulnerable citizens. According to the 2022 national budget, the number of beneficiary households under the program increased to over 1 million from 880,539 as of the end of August 2021. The transfer value per household has been increased from 150 to 200 kwacha per month. For households with severely disabled members, the transfer value has been increased from 300 kwacha to 400 kwacha per month. And last month, people started benefiting from the program, much to their excitement.
Shikalamba sana bale tupela 300 batuvikila po batupela 400 kanshi tuleto tela pakalamba sana okutila mwabombe ni wakateka ala tuvikile ni pofyena kambi. But
it was not the same for a 72-year-old Elizabeth Banda of Lusaka's John Howard compound in Chawama constituency, who has been omitted from the register owing to conflicting personal details. She has been receiving money since 2017, but now wonders why she has been removed from the register.
Mukapite ku social welfare badanda uri ndine ndiripo chifukwa chake nina chikabwa ninaenda kwamene kuja amai bwanji nati awe ine nabwera kuno ndalama kale ndalufola lomba naona kuti ndiripo fola.
She tells us that the social cash transfer fund has been a main means of survival as she uses it to support her family through a vegetable business, thus calling on the Department of Social Welfare to look into her case.
Social welfare azintandiza ina santaile babwaro ndiwo vana vangu Nilibe ubalana bana pano pamene nililya nilibe. Banana amene ya social welfare otadiza ine. Pano nili orona sale rotele. Akakati amayi vajana lubwera kuno basa. Asaka nambalala akandigulire boko. Kuti yaya amayi vajada abwera adi kuno dandaula kuti tathandize. Ndise taphetsa.
Elizabeth Banda is not the only one affected, as many people shared with us similar challenges, and it must be noted that previously people were swindled in similar circumstances by way of providing fake vouchers, and some have been arrested by the Anti-Corruption Commission. By broadcast time, efforts to reach out to the Department of Social Welfare proved futile. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
A Lusaka-based clergy Bishop John Mambo has urged government officials to take responsibility and implement President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA's call for a corrupt-free country. Bishop Mambo says the fight against corruption must be taken seriously by both those in opposition and more so those in power. He adds it is the responsibility of every citizen to ensure that the country attain a corrupt-free state. He was reacting to a recent instituted investigation by Home Affairs to capture all vehicles procured by the previous government officials prior to 2021 general elections.
Since coming into power about 8 months ago, the United Party for National Development, UPND, has embarked on a fight against corruption as part of the recovery process of national resources. This exercise has seen some officials being investigated as per mandate by investigative wings. Part of this exercise, Home Affairs Minister Jack Mwimbu earlier revealed that the ministry has instituted investigations to identify the vehicles that were bought by the previous government prior to the 2021 general elections. This follows the end of amnesty that was granted to individuals who once served in government and parastatals to retain government vehicles that might have been acquired illegally. But in an interview Monday, a Lusaka-based clergy Bishop John Mambo has questioned why the fight against corruption exercise seems to be an exercise in futility, saying the Zambian people needs answers to a number of pending issues in the country.
Regime, if you have seen evidence, provide evidence. As a result, the people were left scot-free. Today, the same people we mentioned, they are the ones who are found wanting. So to answer your question, really we can do more than this. If I'm found wanting, I'm a criminal. You don't have to beg me, no. And it doesn't mean that you don't like me, no. You are merely correcting a wrong. You cannot correct a wrong with a wrong. Because the method they're trying to use here is send a thief to catch a thief. You go there, you're given a bag and whatever and so on. Should it take the president to explain why minister so did A, B, C, D, or ask and so on? No.
Bishop Mambo is of the view that the new administration can do better given the state of machinery and information they have.
What we have done, they even know they are mocking us. They are mocking us. They're saying, because the same people that were in the previous regime, quickly, they are the ones every day you are seeing joining. You think they have no influence of influencing people to have them get position. Backdoor and say this and that, and you're happy. So, my young brother, there's a lot of work, my young son, there's a lot of work. And some of us don't sleep. We are praying, but at the same time acting. It's very, very painful. Because change wanted certain things to be done, but done with love. You don't, vengeance is for God, and hate really is for the devil. You know, you do things in love. If I'm called with love, respect, and so forth, you know, not embarrassed. These people have done it because he called someone, he's told evidence. Tomorrow you can tell they've been given so much, this person is innocent. So it's a mockery.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Republican President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA says Africa is blessed with vast mineral resources which are vital for economic development. He says African leaders and partners should take deliberate steps to ensure sustainable development and management of mineral resources. President HICHILEMA says these efforts should include building linkages aimed at promoting value addition and manufacturing. He said this when he met a keynote address at the ongoing mining indaba in Cape Town, South Africa, where he said the mining sector remains key to the sustainable development of the African continent. President HICHILEMA says there is also a need to create upstream linkages into mining capital goods, consumable and serviced industries. President HICHILEMA says proactive investment into exploration will unlock the undiscovered mineral resources and create enormous socio-economic impact. The Indaba is being marked under the theme is African mining investment in the energy transition, environmental, social and governance economies has attracted South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa and President Motsequetsi Masisi of Botswana.
We are committed to building a resilient, sustainable mining industry anchored on environmental, social and indeed governance standards and best practice. Because this is the bare minimum if we have to do it correctly. Our determination towards industrialization, obviously job creation, business opportunities is very clear. It's very clear for those that have been following us 8 months back. We're very determined and we will not allow anything to stand in the way of clearing all hurdles that will allow investments, especially in the mining sector and other sectors for obvious reasons. We are open for business. I heard the minister from South Africa say, we shall repeat it, Zambia is open for business. And we are open to engage and partner with all of you here and those that are not present today. As many of you are aware, Zambia is a key player in the global copper mining industry, as has already been mentioned here, and is home to vast reserves of copper and other minerals. We are addressing factors that constrain investment and putting in place factors that catalyze this investment. Our investment environment will undoubtedly be 1, transparent, 2, consistent, 3, predictable, 4, fair.
The Federation of Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia, has underscored the need for government to ensure that they promote a people-centric foreign investment in the mining industry. During an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, the association president Joseph Mwansa has charged that the people of Zambia need at the moment is sober investors who shall ultimately benefit the local communities. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwansa has commended the head of state, Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, for his presence and address during the mining industry indaba held in South Africa, Cape Town, on Monday.
Zambia's development trajectory has been shaped by the mining industry. For close to 100 years, the extraction of copper and other minerals has dominated the economy. The Federation of Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia, President Joseph Mwansa, has cautioned government to ensure that the local people benefit as it opens up to foreign investment. He says this in an exclusive interview with Camnet News.
Meaningful to Zambian people, especially where he is calling for investors. We need serious investors in our nation. We don't want these mediocre investors who just come and get some mines, then later on abandon them. We want serious investors. If we can bring serious investors, I think we'll see a big change. They analyze it seriously, and that's how they came up with that that method which they use. But of course, not everyone agree with that method and what they have done concerning the tax removing of mineral royalties. Some, they are criticizing the government that they should have leave it like the way it was, and some they are happy. As you know, the nation, you can find these are happy, these are not happy.
Mr. Mwansa says with the amount of minerals Zambia is endowed with, it should be one of the richest countries, but for poor management by people in power in the past, this has not been achieved.
You know, Zambia has great natural resources, lot of minerals. Some of the minerals has not yet been discovered. if the new Dawn government can manage the nation nicely, I think our nation will be out of poverty. We are going to improve economically, and even the living standard of our people will change. We have almost every mineral that any investor would want to get from Zambia. Zambia is not poor as people say.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwansa has commended the head of state, Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, for his presence and address during the mining endeavor held in South Africa, Cape Town, Monday. Alex Shimba, Camnet News in Lusaka.
In other news, an agreement between the chain stores and the Zambia National Farmers Union that chain stores should be procuring onions from local farmers has elated Nsofo Chifwembe, an onion farmer in the Chibombo district of Central Province. Mr. Chifwembe notes that the move by chain stores will enhance the spirit of hard work and consistency amongst the Zambian farmers. On the 8th of May 2022, the Zambia National Farmers Union President Javis Zimba confirmed that most chain stores have started stocking locally produced onions.
The story of small-scale farmers appealing to chain stores across the country to buy their products such as onions is not new. April 22nd, 2022, the Zambia National Farmers Union accused ShopRite of shunning local onion producers after the giant supermarket reported that there was a countrywide shortage of onions on the local market. But as of 8 May 2022, Zambia National Farmers Union confirmed that most chain stores had started stocking the commodity. The move that excited a farmer in Chibombo district of Central Province.
As a smallholder farmer, to learn that supermarkets have now started getting product from the local farmers, which is a very good move, and we are very happy. It will help us to improve our agribusiness and to have a better market. That's what we've been crying for.
In an interview with Camnet News, Nsofo Chifwembe says farmers will be encouraged to work hard and produce good harvests.
I really thank the new Dawn government for implementing some policies which are so encouraging to the smallholder farmers. Because most of the time, the cost of production was very high, unlike the prices we are selling our product on. So this move is very good. We really appreciate. And it calls on us smallholder farmers to really work hard so that we can be consistent in producing these vegetables, and it will encourage us to even do value addition.
The production of onions in Zambia increased from 16,000 tons to 40,798 tons in 2020, growing at an average annual rate of 2%. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Prosecutors from the Anti-Corruption Commission have told Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Dominic Makalachi to throw out the defense application to summon ACC Acting Director General to appear before court and testify in the case where former State House Press Aide Amos Chanda is accused of using directory remarks against officers. According to the state, Mr. Selumesi Muchula enjoys public interest immunity, and as such, he cannot be called as a witness. This is in a matter in which former President Edgar Lungu's spokesperson is jointly charged with his wife and sister-in-law for allegedly insulting and obstructing ACC officers the time they went to conduct a search at his residence.
Tempers Monday morning flared in the Lusaka's Magistrate Court between the prosecution and the defense after the two parties had an argument during the submissions on whether Mr. Selumesi Muchula, the Acting Director General at the Anti-Corruption Commission, should be presented before court as a witness in defense of former State House Press Aide Amos Chanda. Mr. Chanda, his wife Mabel, and sister-in-law Ruth Nakaundi have been dragged to court on allegation that they insulted and obstructed ACC officers last year in October, during the time the said officers went to conduct a search at one of his properties in Lusaka's Woodlands area. When the matter came before Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Dominic Magalicha for continued defense, lawyers representing the trio informed the court that they had organized a one Mr. Slumesi Muchula, the acting DG at SCC, however, despite being served with summons last week to appear before court and testify in favor of Mr. Chanda, he was not before court. Responding to this, the prosecution, however, argued that Mr. Muchula, who the defense are trying to summon, enjoys immunity of staff and as such cannot testify, and in an event he does so, the implication is that he may be arrested and prosecuted after testifying. While citing Section 17(1)(2) of the Anti-Act to support their argument, the state further submitted that the said application by the defense should be dismissed with the contempt it deserves, as it is malicious. Meanwhile, Mr. Chanda's lawyers have told the court that their client is at liberty to call whoever witness he wants to offer in his defense. The court has, however, reserved ruling to the 24th of May 2022 on whether the acting DG at SCC should be summoned to appear before court and testify or not. So far, Mr. Chanda is the only person remaining to give the court his defense, as his wife Mabel and sister-in-law Ruth Nakaundi already gave their side of the story. The trio, in the last count, is alleged to have on the 27th of October 2021 obstructed and delayed officers from the Anti-Corruption Commission by dishonestly stating that the keys to one of the bedrooms were with another person who had traveled out of town when in fact not. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Bank of Zambia advisor to the Governor Emmanuel Mlenga has testified before the Lusaka Magistrate Court that he processed payment of 108 million kwacha for purchase of Ministry of Foreign Affairs property. Mr. Mlenga has also testified that he signed on the movement of funds after an approval by former Secretary to the Treasury Fredson Yamba. This is in a matter in which former Foreign Affairs Minister under the Patriotic Front administration Joseph Malanji and former Secretary to the Treasury Fredson Yamba are jointly charged with 5 counts of willful failure to comply with the law and possession of properties suspected to be proceeds of crime. Mr. Yamba is accused of allocating and authorizing the transfer of over 100 million kwacha to the Zambian mission account in Turkey for the procurement of real estate, while Mr. Malanji is accused of possessing a Jet Ranger helicopter believed to be proceeds of crime.
Before trial could even proceed in the case involving former Foreign Affairs Minister and Secretary to the Treasury, the Lusaka's Magistrate Court had to dismiss an application made by lawyers representing the former Secretary to the Treasury, Fredson Yamba, to have the charge sheet where he has been jointly charged with Mr. Malanji quashed. Mr. Yamba, who is accused of allocating and authorizing the transfer of over 100 million kwacha to the Zambian mission account in Turkey for the procurement of real estate, moved the court in the early morning of the 9th of May 2022, quashed the indictment as it did not contain necessary particulars on the nature of the offense charged. But Magistrate Jennifer Walia dismissed the application, stating that the charge sheet contained the necessary details, hence the matter will proceed to trial. Meanwhile, an advisor to the governor at the Bank of Zambia, Emmanuel Mlenga, testified that he processed with the payment of 108 million kwacha, which was made for the purchase of government property under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In his further testimony, the witness said he signed on the movement of the funds at the time he was at the Ministry of Finance as Permanent Secretary in charge of Budget and Economic Affairs after it was approved by the former Secretary, then Mr. Yamba. In the first count, the state accuses Mr. Yamba of allocating and authorizing the transfer of the said 100 million kwacha without following the law. In the second count, the accused is also said to have allegedly allocated and authorized the transfer of 55.8 million to the said Zambian mission account, while The 3 last counts relate to Mr. Malanje, who is said to have on date unknown, but between January 1st, 2020 and August 31st, 2021, in Lusaka, jointly and whilst acting together with other persons unknown, possessed a Bell 430 helicopter property reasonably suspected of being proceeds of crime. In the other count, he is accused of possessing Gibson Royal Hotel property reasonably of being proceeds of crime. The said offences are contrary to Section 71 of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act number 19 of 2010 of the laws of Zambia. Trial continues. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Ministry of Health is considering making masking up against COVID-19 optional once assessments is done and the relaunch of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign response scheduled for 14th May 2022. Speaking during the COVID-19 vaccination update, Minister in charge of Health Sylvia Masebo, however, says this can only be done once the country reaches 70% vaccination. The minister has since reminded members of the public to take advantage of the relaunch and get vaccinated. Meanwhile, the country has in the last 24 hours recorded 34 new confirmed COVID cases and 0 deaths.
Round 10-day nationwide COVID-19 vaccination campaign, which will be starting on the 14th of May 2022. This is in an effort to conveniently reach the 70% eligible population that is 12 years of age and above. As I indicated earlier on, we will leverage on the local government ministry and other line ministry structures to launch a nationwide COVID-19 vaccination campaign. In demonstrating how serious the government is with this issue, Her Honor the Vice President, Ms. Utale W.K. Nalumango, will launch the campaign in Solwezi on 14th May 2022. This program will see launches throughout the country at provincial levels, at district levels, at ward levels, and community levels.
A story of President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA has been documented in a narrative film to be released on the 25th of May 2022, a day which also marks Africa Freedom Day. The script tells the story of resilience for the head of state for a village boy who rose through difficult situations to be to the top job. Film director John Mwanza says the film is aimed at highlighting Zambia's rich history with hopes of translating into other languages for everyone to appreciate its content. Meanwhile, film executive producer Mwangala Chakalashi says the film, which can be called history or his story, is an important part of Zambia's journey to economic emancipation. She says leaders that came before President Hichilema have also been included as part of the story.
Two stories in one. One is a story about Zambia and the history that we have had as a democratic nation, having had peaceful transitions of power from independence in 1964. So we wanted to tell a story of how that unraveled and how it got us to where we are now, along with the story of our current president, Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, and his journey into office. So, I think, in our political history, we've been very lucky to have peaceful transitions of power, but it's not been without obstacles. It's not been without hardships. And I think the story basically looks at several other key people in the history of our political history of our country.
If you look at his story, it's a story of a village boy who now transitions to the top office, which is presidency. And that, like John has already explained, that did not happen without a lot of obstacles. I mean, who goes through 5 contested elections and losing all of them? His 15 years journey to presidency, he was arrested 15 times. So those are things that we're actually highlighting. I think for us, John, is a story of hope. a story of resilience, a story of determination. And we believe that this is a story that all of us can pick a leaf from and learn. This is a story that speaks to all of us.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
In keeping with a school tradition, it's the May 2022 Back to School with Butter Toffees. Get the all-new Butter Toffees original leather school shoes that are antifungal and antibacterial treated, hence reducing common school shoe odor and thus are eco-friendly. Hurry to your nearest Butter outlet countrywide and grab a pair of the all-new original Butter Toffees. Butter. Built to last, built for life.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. Has so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Savenda. Save nations, develop Africa. Connecting African countries to each other and connecting the African continent to the world. This logistics and global supply chain management group offers end-to-end solutions across all sectors of the economy: agriculture, energy, telecommunications, finance, construction, transportation, and insurance. And now, its initiatives are greener than ever, operating in line with government guidelines and working to provide energy security for Zambia and beyond. 25 companies united under one group and one vision. Savenda. Trade and logistics made easy.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you for staying with us. We continue with the rest of the news. A former employee of a named Lebanese company in Lusaka, Jeff Chibale, has called for labor reforms that will see the Ministry of Labor and Social Security being helpful to workers, stating that it is unhelpful in its current state. In an interview, Mr. Chibale, a family man, narrates how he was dismissed from the said company about 2 months ago after encountering an injury while working in the company, which left one of his fingers disabled without any compensation. Meanwhile, human rights activist Mr. Francis Kamwena has called for a human resource audit at the Ministry of Labor in order to enhance efficiency.
The Ministry of Labor and Social Security in the Zambian scenario has many mandates, among which is to monitor national productivity, occupational safety and health, and relations between employees and their employers. Many workers in different lines of work in Zambia have, however, been expressing dissatisfaction with the operations of this ministry, alleging that it is not effective in handling complaints against their employers. Jeff Chibale, a former worker of a named Lebanese company in Lusaka's industrial area, says reforms should be undertaken at the ministry to ensure that workers are helped. Mr. Chibale narrates how he was dismissed from the said company after an injury while at work, which left one of his fingers completely disabled.
ya mixa inabwa funo njuwa vikuma so ma inabwa pesika nabwa naenda kuli echala mulangiza enjali tiona shita ni pa kampani so manje eve echala nabwa nuza toke za kushita compensate so ma inabwa pesika after that na bani mikanchito apela tinye makonke otiwa nikushite compensate banakana futi atawa stinga kushite compensate kai so nadaba maningi olofuti ma challenge niona pali chikumu echi chili pasa maningi problem nga nkani okudya nambodira ku left olofuti nkani osebenza sinigwira mushe vintu kuti nitandizike kusebenza.
Meanwhile, a human rights activist, Mr. Francis Kamwena, has called for an overhaul at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, stating that this will make the ministry more active.
You know, wasting government resources. You have produced a summon going to a certain company, they have not replied. And then you are coming back again and produce another summon. They are not replying. So meaning is sheer waste of government resources. At the end of the day, they will say, no, we don't have machinery, we don't have this, we don't have this. Why are companies not following the right thing?
In a recent interview with Camnet News, Minister of Labour and Social Security, Ms. Brenda Tambatamba, indicated that the ministry is working with a limited number of labour inspectors across the country.
We do inspections based on a roster. You know, Zambia is very big, and this ministry is only represented out of the 114, we only have 56 labour offices. So you can imagine that the 60 that do not have a labour office, coming from the past regime, the past government, who didn't deploy offices in all the locations. So we depend on these 54 to cover more than 3 times to get to all the other places.
Stakeholders have been calling for a change in the way labour concerns are handled in Zambia if the country is to attain its agenda of decent work for all by 2030. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The first session of the 13th National Assembly will resume on Tuesday, June 7, 2022 at 14:30 hours. Clerk of the National Assembly, Cecilia Mbewe, has announced that the session, which was adjourned on 1st April 2022, will resume next month. During the last sitting, the National Assembly saw a new Member of Parliament from Kawata constituency, Andrew Tayengwa, enter the House following a successful by-election. President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA also addressed the nation on the progress made in the application of national value and principles. During the sitting, Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, suspended 30 Patriotic Front parliamentarians for 30 days for breaching parliamentary privileges in line with Section 2.2 of the Powers and Privileges Act. In other news, the Institute of Architects says it has taken interest in the matter relating to the FTJ Chiluba University construction project in Mapula Province. Institution President Architect Walia Masabo says his institute, being a regulator of the architectural profession in Zambia, will keenly follow the matter to its logical conclusion. Architect Masabo says his institution will act appropriately on the offenders if found guilty, as provided for in the Zambia Institute of Architects Act number 36, Chapter 442 of the Laws of Zambia. The Anti-Corruption Commission ACC had Wednesday, 4th May 2022, arrested former Secretary to the Treasury Fredson Yamba for corrupt practices involving over 33 million United States dollars released for the construction of the FTJ Chiluba University, which has not been constructed.
The Zambian Institute of Architects has noted with great concern the statement issued by the Anti-Corruption Commission concerning the construction of the FTJ Chiluba University in Wapla Province. The institute, being a regulator of the architectural profession in the country, will follow this matter to its logical conclusion and will act appropriately as provided for in the Zambia Institute of Architects Act number 36, Chapter 442 of the laws of Zambia.
The Zambia Institute of Purchasing and Supply has noted with concern the increase in number of fake procurement offices in both public and private institutions. Association President Robert Tembo says these fake office bearers have continued to dent the image of the profession by entangling themselves in procurement scandals. Meanwhile, Mr. Tembo says the ZIP's Act number 15 of 2003 is currently undergoing review in order to address the lacunas that are in the current act.
Procurement is a process of finding and agreeing to terms and acquiring goods, services or works from an external source, often via a tendering and competitive bidding process. Zambia has in the past few years witnessed procurement scandals in both the public and private sector in the likes of the honeybee scandal, the COVID-19 vaccines, the $1 million fire tenders and the ambulances, among other things. The Zambia Institute of Purchasing and Supply has charged that there are a number of masquerading procurement officers in both the public and private sector, all have kept on denting the image of the profession by entangling themselves in procurement scandals. Association President Robert Tembo said this to the media Monday morning.
In one of the tours that we undertook as ZIPs under compliance, we found an office assistant doing procurement. But when something goes wrong, they say procurement officer has done a wrong thing. When we queried them, we were told, no, this is the only people that we have not been given the people. So my question is very simple. In answering your question, if you are going to South Africa or you are going to London, would you ask your cousin who is not a pilot to fly you to go to London?
Mr. Tembo says the institution has begun the process of reviewing the ZIPS Act number 15 of 2003 in order to address lacunas that are currently in the Act. He says the review is in order to address the desires of members, as some so-called procurement officers do not even qualify to be clerks.
I should ascertain that laws create culture, and this is why we have given it a key start, that we review the Act immediately and ensure that before the end of June, this Act is presented before government, because we have already written through our Ministry of Finance to ensure that they put the Act in place.
And Mr. Tembo says the institution is establishing a center of excellence for procurement professionals in Zambia, aimed at expanding and deepening service learning and related professionals and academic initiatives and scholarship in the institute.
ZIPS, we are very much moving forward, and that is why we are putting up the Center of Excellence to do research in all these areas and work together with the government of the day to ensure that all these lacunas that we have been talking about, the challenges we have been facing with, are removed.
The private sector, government and other spending agencies procure goods and services in large quantities, hence the need for the procurement professionals who are responsible for procurement to exercise professionalism and responsibility when expending funds. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
We'll take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, Savenda Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. Savenda Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Are you a married man or woman? Are you encountering challenges in your marriage? Are you planning to take your marriage and love relationship to higher levels? Your business platform is all set for you as a couple. You are invited to attend Zambia's first love, business and marriage conference. Amidst uncertainties in the economy, higher divorce rate in the world, plan to be one of the most successful couple in Zambia. Date 28th May 2022. Time from 9 hours to 16 hours. Participation fee 1,200 kwacha per couple. Lunch inclusive. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International. Speakers, Professor and Mrs. Catherine Munkumba. And your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilo. This is a must-attend conference. Plan and make a date with us. Your lives, marriage and future will never be the same. Remember, we are born for greatness. Book for your seats by calling 0962 965 883. See you on the 28th May 2022.
Welcome back. We now get into international news. Gunmen in Nigeria killed at least 48 people in attacks on 3 villages in northwest Zamfara state. The attacks took place last Friday, were reported by a local official and residents on Sunday. The village of Damri was the worst hit. The gunmen killed 32 people, including 2 security personnel. According to Aminu Saileman, administrative head of the Bakura district, the attacks were coordinated. In early January, gunmen killed more than 200 people in Zamfara state. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has called on the security forces to redouble their efforts to put an end to the killings. The violence has forced thousands to flee to neighboring Niger, with over 11,000 seeking refuge last November, according to the United Nations. Northwest and central Nigeria have been terrorized for years by criminal gangs who raid and loot villages, steal cattle, and carry out mass abductions of residents for ransom. Here's a roundup of international news.
Gunmen in Nigeria killed at least 48 people in attacks on 3 villages in northwest Zamfara state. The attacks took place last Friday and were reported by a local official and residents on Sunday. The village of Damri was the worst hit. The gunmen killed 32 people, including 2 security personnel. In early January, gunmen killed more than 200 people in Zamfara state. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has called on the security forces to redouble their efforts to put an end to the killings. The violence in Nigeria has already forced thousands to flee to neighboring Niger, with over 11,000 seeking refuge last November, according to the United Nations. Northwest and central Nigeria have been terrorized for years by criminal gangs who raid and loot villages, steal cattle, and carry out mass abductions of residents for ransom.
On the edge of the Sahel in northern Senegal is Nyaidalde, no longer an oasis, but a village sinking in the sand. Gone are the green pastures and vegetable gardens. It hasn't rained for almost 10 months. The villagers used to grow food. Now they're going hungry. Their emaciated cattle look for what's left on the sand. Hope for Chambalba comes in the shape of a cloud high above. But will it rain?
I don't think so. Even when it rains, it doesn't stick to the ground. It's gotten so hot, even birds drop from the sky. It feels like the desert is moving forward, swallowing our village, and so the men are leaving.
On the move is onion farmer Babakar Gay. He sold his land for $1,000, using the money to pay a trafficker to take him to Spain by boat. He worked as a stonemason in Malaga, constructing homes for British tourists before being caught and deported by Spanish authorities.
The situation is bad. It's bad for all of us. We can't go back to farming. On the coast, people's homes are being destroyed by the rising ocean. I am ready to try to go to Europe again, and there are many more like me.
Mamadou Fall spent 4 years in a Spanish prison for trafficking Africans to Spain.
People are not fleeing war, but droughts. It's when there is no water, no rain for 8 to 9 months, that there are more departures for Europe. And so traffickers wait for that time of the year, when people are desperate to do the crossing.
For now, these men have turned to fishing in Saint Louis, but the catch is meager. Access to the waters are restricted because next year, British Petroleum will begin extracting liquid natural gas on their fishing site.
In the distance behind me is a Senegalese Navy ship, here not to protect the fishing vessels and fishermen from the rough seas, but rather to protect that BP platform that you see in the distance. It is here one of the biggest discoveries of liquid natural gas in the last 2 decades. The problem is, beneath that platform is a cold water coral reef rich in biodiversity, and that's about to be destroyed.
The discovery will bring some new jobs and revenue for Senegal, but most here face an uncertain future, caught between a rising ocean and an expanding desert. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, in Jalde, northern Senegal.
Atawa Forest in eastern Ghana is known for its abundant biodiversity, including endangered animals and rare plants, dozens of which are threatened with extinction. Despite the area being declared protected, the government plans to begin large-scale mining for bauxite.
The government has been saying over and over again, I'll say since 2018, that they would not unnecessarily compromise the forest. They have not so far demonstrated to any agency, to Ghanaians, how that is going to be done. And you know why? Because there is no technology that will allow government to go ahead and tap the bauxite in this forest without compromising the forest.
Bauxite is used to produce aluminium products. While the government's agreed to a $2 billion mining deal with China, it's yet to get permission from Ghana's Environmental Protection Agency. The government says it's relying on the potential proceeds from the mining of both bauxite and gold to develop local mining communities.
We now have a fund which is solely dedicated to the development of the mining communities of our country, where, if you want, 20% by law of the royalties which accrue to the state are dedicated to this fund. And the fund is exclusively for the development of mining communities, the provision of water, for instance, electricity, educational infrastructure, healthcare.
But many small-scale miners and loggers work illegally, surviving on minimal income. Gold miners say they hardly benefit, and critics say their activities are harming the environment. Communities in Ghana's western region rely on the Pra River for drinking water and to bathe and cook. The Beram Water Basin feeds 3 major rivers, providing water for millions of people across Ghana. But mining upstream has contaminated the water.
We don't get access to clean water as it used to be because of the mining activities. It is affecting the community a lot. When the tap doesn't flow as it used to be, sometimes a month or 2 or 3 weeks, you don't even get water to flow in your tap.
Mining opponents are taking the government to court to stop the search for bauxite. Critics say that while they understand the need to benefit from natural resources, Ghana's forests need to be protected for future generations. Famida Miller, Al Jazeera.
We now get into our sports item. According to the BBC, the 63 million euros transfer for the Norwegian is agreed, with an announcement expected soon in Germany. CT are refusing to respond to the widespread reports. Privately, they said the deal is done, though their definition of done may differ to the medias given the fine detail involved in such big cash moves. It is thought that virtually all parts of the transfer are agreed, with City only needing to trigger the clause to activate the transfer. The transfer could be one of the biggest of the summer. Sports agent Mino Raiola has been involved in the discussion prior to his death, with associates taking the process on to its conclusion. Even though City are within touching distance of a second successive Premier League title, archived without an unorthodox centre forward, Guardiola has always stressed his desire to have one. Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. CHIBOLYA youths abandon criminal activities to benefit from CDF. More people nabbed in connection with FTJ University saga. President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA calls for continental partnership in mineral development. And in international news, gunmen kill 48 people in northwest Nigeria. In sports, Erling Haaland's move to Manchester City could be confirmed next week. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Isaiah 41 verse 10, and it reads, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will hold on to you with my righteous right hand." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.